this is Kismet. I got an ask today if I could show the process of how I did Nathaniel's drawing and also how I basically do my digital art. With me, I like to use a program called Paint Tool SAI, and a lot of times when people use this program, they have a drawing tablet, and I am one of those few people who actually does not own one. So I actually have to use a mouse, and using a mouse actually kind of makes it quite difficult because this program is quite sensitive when it comes to your movement, and because of that, and a mouse is just isn't very steady, and I'll just show an example here. It's really hard to make nice, smooth, even lines. It's just kind of shaky. It's just very, very difficult to use. So what I have to use is not a normal layer, but a thing that's called a line layer or a vector layer. And this, just showing with a line, allows me to move and curve and edit the line the way I want. And it makes it very nice and smooth. And I'll zoom in a little bit. Here, but also, since I don't have a drawing tablet, I can't make this come to a point just by drawing it, but there is a process to actually make that smaller. You go here for pressure, and you click on it, move off to your left, and it makes it smaller. Move off to your right, and it makes it fatter. So this is basically how I can make his hair and basically anything I need to do. Also, if I'm like doing an eyebrow, I make it thicker. At one point, here, I'll make it narrow. Another. So I can kind of make an eyebrow. So that's basically what I use. Right. And since I don't have a drawing tablet, I can't use the normal process of sketching like a lot of people do. So I use a lot of lines and grids. And here is basically the line grid that I have for when I did my drawing. And I can kind of explain what is what. The blue line here indicates the face. Here, oh goodness, I'm wondering if I'm going to have to do the whole lines all over just to make it make sense, because this looks like just a big jumble of lines, doesn't it? Okay, let's do that. Let's just do it all over again. All right. Let's do. So I always have to use lines, at least in the beginning, because that's just easier for me. So first I actually start with the shoulder. So here's the shoulder here. And then the neck goes down here. And it'd be at an angle. And then his back. I'm going down. Arm coming out to here would be his elbow, and the elbow would go this direction. Okay, so this is the basic structure of the body here. And I know it doesn't look like much, but here's his neck, his shoulders, and his back. So I'd start with this. Whoops, not that. There. All right, now I'd actually start working on his actual face. And usually when I start with a line here, I usually start to here. No, I guess I actually do it. Yep, right there. Sorry, I'm still thinking. I'm not doing a very good job, as you can tell. Right, so this would be basically kind of the middle part of where his neck would be. And right here is the bottom of his ear. So I would start here, and then right about there would be where his other ear on the lower part would be. So I would start right there. And here's the end of his chin, and I go all the way up to where his hairline would be. So it would look like that. And because someone's face is not flat, as you can tell, I always have to curve it to where the shape of the face would be. So I would curve it outwards and out. There. So see, that looks better. Definitely has a better shape. All right. Then I would take a line, there. From here, going back. And this would be the back of his head. I'll do the same, going this way. And then that would be about the back of his head, right there. And I also sometimes, this is kind of for my own reference, to see where at least for when I start working on the eyes, to see where the level is. And I'm just not getting it to the right spot. There we go. There. And this way I could see where it goes in. That way. This is just kind of how my preference is. See, kind of the lines are all kind of going the same direction. And then I would start working on the outside of his face. Kind of see. Let's go, I guess, with blue. Alright, now we're doing the line. This here is from the chin all the way to the bottom of his ear. And I'd be doing the same on this side. And I would also take a line going all the way down here. And then doing a line to here and back up. And again, doesn't look like much. Of course, when you take the edit to it, and then you curve, yeah, now you can actually start seeing the head pretty well. Actually went a little too far back because that's the end of the hood and his head is technically not the very end of the hood. So this is another reason why I like these layers. You could really play around and mess with it. If you make a mistake, you could always change it, which I love because I do make actually a lot of mistakes when I draw. I'm not very perfect when I do my drawings in the first spot. Okay, here. There you go. Now look at that. It looks like a head, at least the beginning of a head. Yay. Alright. Now let's work on the neck. It's totally not what I want to do. Alright. And I would have gone down like this. Head. Okay. I would have gone here, and this would have been the edge. I'd figure out where the edge of the shoulder would be. I would go down like this. And go like that. His arm. And down. And then here would be the back. There. There, look at that. Oh, yeah, I like that. There, so now you could kind of see the shoulders and the body and then the arms and the back, and it does look kind of confusing if you... And of course, I wouldn't be all doing this at once. I'd kind of be doing this in separate layers, which I should probably have been doing. It might have been a little easier. Right, now let's start a different layer. And now we'll start working on the hood. And we'll go with green. And then for the line of course, this would have been part of where the hood would be. There. So then you can kind of see where I would start working on the hood. And I actually just continue this process. I just move the lines and edit the drawing to the point where I see fit. Start just working on some of the details. And this is, again, very, very slow process for me. I've actually gotten a lot faster. But to be honest, my least favorite part of this whole drawing process is actually doing the line work. Because with me, it takes a very long time, especially the more details I put in. It just becomes kind of hectic and hard. There. So now you can kind of see where I would start the outline of the HUD and just continue drawing from there. Alright, so now you can see the body and the HUD here. Now let's actually start concentrating more on his face. There. Start a new layer. And we'll go to red. Alright. Now the face is a little bit more complicated. Like I said before, this here would be the very bottom of the ear. And since I don't actually have an ear on him, I kind of have to do an estimate. Right here where the head starts curving up is right where the edge of the ear would be. And if you go right across, this would be the other top of his ear on the other side. And you can see that I actually follow this line, and it helps me kind of guide how I would do his eyebrows. As you can kind of see where it's kind of lined up. And I would do that again. This would be the bottom of the ear. And of course the eyes are not quite at the bottom, but kind of close to the bottom of the ear. There. And then the eyebrows themselves, here's the tip of the ear, but here's the tip of the eye. And since the face is more of an angle, it kind of forced the eyebrow to come to an angle. But most times than not, the edge of the eyebrow goes at the very edge of the eye, and that goes to the end of the other eye. So that goes here. Does that? Does that? Okay. Now for the nose. This curving line that I did before at the very middle of the face, as you can see, is right where the point is where his nose is. So I use this to help me figure out where his nose would go on the face. And between the 2 points here, it's either in the middle. It just depends on how the structure of the face is that you draw. It's usually a third from the bottom to almost 2/3 from the bottom when it comes to the mouth. And here it ended up being almost half. But usually it's about 1/3 between the chin to the nose to the half point. You can kind of play around with it to see how you want it as far as like a pout or a smile. It's going to depend exactly where this is placed. But here would be the eyes, and you would again do this here. That would help me keep to where the shape of the eye is, and this is how I would do my drawing for at least how I'd get the eyes in. There. Okay. Again, here's where my original sketching, not sketching, sorry, my grid lines were for when I first did my outline. Now, at the time when I did the cat in his hand, I really didn't do a grid. Once I get a grid down, I don't really need it for the rest of them. And I just did this actually freehand. But if I was going to do a grid for it, okay. Right, here's the wrist, which of course kind of goes off the page. So here's his wrist. And then here is the middle point of his hand, which I have done a line. And then from that, I would have done a line with the thumb. Here, and this would give me, figure out where his knuckles and his hands would be. And from there, I would have gone like this, and like that. This is basically the outer shape of a hand, as far as you would see it in most instances. And from that point here, you would start with each one of the fingers, and you would go out. Okay. Let's do a different color. All right. This point here is a joint. I need to get out of the lines. Let's do a pen. This point in right here is a joint. Right here is another joint. So you can see the line to here, going this way, and that would be the thumb. Again, here would be a joint, here would be another joint, and you could just keep doing that. Another joint, another joint. There. And then here, the very middle of the hand. You go from that way, that. And then again, hands have never really been that difficult for me to draw for some unknown reason. So I've never really had to make too many grid lines, and I feel like I am really confusing everyone, and I really apologize, and I'm sorry. But anyway, here's the hand. Here's the joint. It's basically how it would be. And I'm just going to get rid of all this. Ugh. So, anyway, that's how you would do a hand. Anyway, that hand. Alright. So once I have my outline complete here, I usually keep all my layers together into one folder. And you can see this one would be where the kitten is. This is the one where I actually did the outline of the hoodie. This is his hair. This is his eyes. I always keep the eyes separate. If anything, it would be to do that, because that way I can play around and move things. Like here. Oh, that's right, because I'm on his hand. I didn't need to be on his hand. I needed to be on his eyes. There. And then I can move his eyes around and get it into the right spot. There. Anyway, so I always do that when I'm working with a drawing, is to do each layer, each component in a different layer. So I have his hand, I have his face, his eyes, his hair, the hoodie, and then the kitten. And then once I do that, I have to go and do a process up here. Oh, here we go, rasterize layer. This would turn this layer from a line layer into a regular layer. And that way you can actually work with it. If I did preserve opacity, and pick a color, let's pick pink, purple. Okay, we'll pick purple. Do a pen. See, now I can change the kitten. So this is when the actual drawing process starts. But you could also take it, here, this tool here. This tool is like a cut and like a copy, allows you to copy images. So you do this, do a control copy. Go up here, do layer and do control V. And now you have another of the kitty. And I usually do that. I actually do that process to each one of the line layers. So in case there was a mistake or I wanted to edit one of the layers, I can easily go back into this folder, which would be in my original lines, my line layer. And it's just kind of a reassurance that I could actually make changes later on. And this is taking a whole lot longer, 20 minutes. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, you guys. All right, so that's pretty much it. If you actually want me to show you how to actually use the program a little bit more specifically, but that's basically how I actually get the drawing part done as far as his face and his body. And I know it's not as impressive as a lot of people think it is, but that's kind of how it works. Okay, well, I hope you guys weren't bored and you could actually understand what I was saying. So thank you guys. Talk to you later.